Hello, everybody. Today I'm with Rachel, our guest speaker. She's going to be here more often, specifically on Tuesdays, I believe. And we are going to be going over the pros and cons of TikTok today. We're going to be going over an essay titled Influencers' Impact on the Media. I'm going to hand this over to Rachel, and then we'll end off with a few questions. But I hope you enjoy.
All right. From fun dances to educational videos, the possibilities on TikTok are endless. There are plenty of pros about TikTok and the messages the creators are putting on their platforms. It has been an educational source for many people and has influenced individuals to be expressive, and the best part is to be yourself. TikTok has gained its popularity for allowing users to feel a sense of confidence in freely expressing themselves and given opportunities to interact with other creators and their content. TikTok has become a popular app commonly used by younger crowds, and the content we receive can be negative. However, I believe the pros outweigh the cons. I have found TikTok to be an educational, uplifting platform used to inform and inspire the younger generation. According to the article, TikTok gains favor among Gen Z over Google for searches. Author Jeremy Golden cites a recent Her Campus study finding that 74% of Gen Z internet users use TikTok for search and 51% favor it over Google, primarily due to its short form video format. Studies have shown that younger people gravitate towards TikTok influencers for sources of information rather than searching their ideas and questions through Google. It has by far been favored over other platforms by Gen Z, which is the primary reason TikTok is the most used app. It is suiting for their way of learning and navigating social media. TikTok has proven to be an educational to have educational resources along with the fun way of incorporating it into a 1 to 10 minute long video. Some people use their profile as a base structure for their career or even as small as a business. It is a great way for young people to introduce themselves to the life they want to pursue. I have found TikTok to be a form of Google. A lot of creators utilize the app to share life hacks, at-home medicine, news channel, etc. I have gained quite a bit of knowledge from my For You page, which is called the FYP. I have taken useful information from the app and have applied what I have learned in some way every day and even share it with others. Another pro about TikTok is your algorithm. The videos and content you like will repeat itself and show like what you previously watched, which is comforting and suiting to just about everyone. On the other hand, there is a negative side of the app. Unfortunately, there are people with bad intentions and their content is to give you a sense of thrill or fear. We know that with good comes bad, and a good argument comes with a bad argument. With that being said, their target is to mislead and mistreat the app and users. Some people use it to gain popularity, money, and fame by doing things on camera that can be very disturbing. The cons can be avoided by simply staying away from users who share content that is not appealing to your eyes. I do recommend TikTok as a place to freely express yourself, learn new things, etc. Using the app appropriately and effectively, you will receive the best version of itself and its content creators. In conclusion, I recommend TikTok as an educational and informal source for young people who are utilizing TikTok as a beneficial platform to potentially engage with their other users and collaborate ideas. And although there are negative sides to every social media app you are engaged in, TikTok is primarily focused on uplifting and inspiring the users. TikTok proves to have good intentions towards creators and highly censor anything less than an educational or inspiring video. If you are looking for a source of local information or a certain crowd of individuals you are wanting to collaborate with, TikTok does well with keeping you on the algorithm that best suits your interest. The listed in this essay supports the evidence proving the positive impacts TikTok has on young individuals who use TikTok with the right intentions and ideas. Thank you for listening.
That was a very well-written essay, I want to say. To start off with my first question, talking about the algorithm,
Yeah.
you said that algorithms can be both negative and positive, but
Correct.
it can be avoidable.
Yes.
So in that sense, you would kind of need to have some sort of reasoning, be able to reason through things.
Yeah.
So would you recommend TikTok as an app for kids in school still, or would you maybe point that to more adults who are able to reason?
I would say that it's not targeted for the younger crowd.
Yeah.
I mean, children do have a lot of access to apps like that. I
Right.
wouldn't say it's healthy for their little brains, but there are a lot of things that they can learn on there. I mean, there's so much. It's inspiring. I mean, it inspires so many new ideas and all of that. Like I said, if you had a question that you don't really know the answer to, like a health question, or what should I make for dinner, or how can I get better help on this math test?
Yeah.
I mean, TikTok is very useful for those things. There are a lot of creators on there who are on there just to be a educational source for people.
Right.
So I wouldn't say that young children, like under the age of 13, should be using the app, because
Right.
regardless, you can't stray away from the bad things. I mean, it's going to pop up regardless.
Right.
Unfortunately,
Mhm.
even it's the same thing with Facebook, Snapchat, all of the others.
Right.
But there is ways to avoid that and to, just completely ignore that side of the app. I think that was my biggest reasoning for the pros and cons, because there's a lot more pros than there are cons. I mean, social
Right.
media can be very negative, but also very positive. So
Right. It's about kind of having that sense of media literacy,
Yeah,
understanding
exactly.
what's right, what's wrong,
exactly.
having a good head on your shoulders.
Right.
Right. And then you said social media can distinguish itself as a search engine, which, a lot of people use TikTok to find information.
Right.
But what about TikTok do you think is different from the other social medias that we use?
I think that the creators that are on there and are wanting to push out those type of videos, I think that they're just more honest and raw and give you a more in-depth explanation about the things that you're asking about, rather than like an AI overview on Google. You know what I
Right.
mean? And you actually have somebody talking to you, and you can engage with them through the comments and ask them even more questions, or see if they can go more in depth about what their video is about. Like a certain medication you're taking.
Yeah.
If you wanted to search it up online and it's kind of scaring you with the negative side effects, versus getting on there and asking about it to a creator who knows about it
Mhm.
and can give you I would say a sense of comfort, because they're talking to you, and I think that's huge. So
Okay, I got a question. How do you know the people you're referring to are authentic and not just BSing? I mean, a lot of people say a lot of things about a lot of things, but they don't really have factual background to substantiate it. So how do you discern using this TikTok?
for me personally, I think you can kind of tell when a person has the credibility and their background behind what they're talking about. Honestly, you can kind of tell when somebody's just getting on there and kind of spewing false information. It's kind of, I feel like it's kind of made out obvious when
Mhm.
somebody's on there with, not speaking factually.
Right.
But there are people on there with degrees, and like they are legit. So I think it just depends. I don't know how to really identify that.
Yeah, and maybe specifically to the question itself, maybe
Yeah.
if it's something more a professional should be answering, there are professionals that you can go to on TikTok.
Right. Like if you had like a serious medical emergency, I wouldn't go to TikTok.
Yeah.
I'd call your pediatrician, your nearest doctor. But there are people on there. They show their credibility. I think we have another question coming in.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing this. Okay, let's say they're authentic. What's the accountability on their part for giving out information? And what I mean by that, let's say you're going in and you have anxiety issues. So you're talking to people that have anxiety and they're giving you advice on how to deal with it. But where's the accountability on their part that what they're giving you is accurate, verifiable information?
Well, I think sometimes people who get on there with that information are speaking from personal experience. I would say it's that
Okay.
from their own personal experience rather than like.
Okay. I also think just being aware
Yeah.
of what you're asking, who you're asking, and you could fact check things.
Right.
Certain people like to claim certain things that can be fact checked,
Right.
but a lot of the time when we want to like look up a recipe or find some local places you want to go to, I think TikTok would be a good example of that,
Oh,
or a
yeah,
good
that's-
resource of
yeah,
that.
It's much deeper than just like people on there like giving, like medical advice. Like
Right.
there's a lot of people, like you can learn so much about your own like local area,
Mhm.
places around you. Just like you said, like recipes. And
Yep.
I mean, I tend to go for people who show their like real and raw, like people who are showing their real life. Like
Right.
it gives me comfort. I don't know how to explain it, but
Mhm.
that's kind of how my algorithm is, because I don't engage in the negative side of the app where,
Right.
people are on there like just talking about stuff that isn't really
Mhm.
appropriate to be talking about, especially when there's children that watch the app. So I don't really run into those type of videos anymore, honestly.
Right.
Um,
Which can be a
yeah.
mindset thing too,
Yeah.
which can be, something that can be quote unquote risky or dangerous. If you're not in a good
Yeah.
mindset and you get in that bad algorithm, I can see that being a negative attribute to TikTok.
Yeah.
But the reasons you're giving are very credible.
Yeah.
And last question I have for you is, we can't stop children and minors from using TikTok,
Right.
even if they should or shouldn't, or should, yeah. And so what ways do you think TikTok can be used that is positive in a classroom setting?
Personally, when I took a math class, I was struggling with it really hard.
Mhm.
And there are teachers that have their own platforms on the app. And I did use it for just showing, teachers teach different. Not every teacher teaches the same. And I found it to be really positive when I got on there one day and was searching up like how to solve, quantitative reasoning,
Yep.
certain subjects in that I was really struggling with. And there were multiple teachers on there who really broke down how they did things. And I think that's appropriate to bring it to a class, maybe show your classmates, like, hey, this person he's really good at solving these problems.
Right.
It's the same. It's almost kind of like YouTube. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, there are teachers who post those videos on YouTube as well. But as far as like a classroom setting goes, I don't really know, honestly. I don't really know how to answer that.
I think you answered it pretty well.
Yeah.
Maybe tips on studying or things like that could be used in a classroom.
I have seen a lot of websites that I've never seen before through TikTok, like apps that college students use to help them.
Yeah.
And they advertise them a lot on TikTok. It's not like ChatGPT or anything. These are like
Mhm.
actual apps that will help you solve those things. And
Oh,
I
cool.
wouldn't have found any of that on Google.
Right.
So it's kind of like hidden gems on there almost.
Mhm.
There are good things to engage with on there. Yeah.
Right. And then there's also a STEM section, I believe,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Where you can explain it if you want. It's basically the educational part where you
Yeah.
can get into like the science, the math help, all that. So what I'm getting from this is that TikTok is a positive platform, obviously with caution with everything else,
Right.
but just basically being in control and having that media literacy, and you
Right.
can have a positive experience on TikTok.
Definitely. There's no getting away from the negative content creators. I mean, they're on every platform, regardless what you're on. I think it's just a matter of what you allow yourself to engage with, and what you're because whatever you engage with is going to continue to show up on your algorithm for you page.
Right.
I mean, I would say it's as simple as blocking them, but it's not. It's it's not that easy. But like I said, when you start to, if you're watching specific things, it becomes your algorithm. So you're not going to run into all of that as often. But like I said, there are a lot of cons as well. I mean, it's not the most appropriate app at times. There are sometimes you can get on there and you're like, that's very inappropriate, certain videos that people post on there. But at the same time, not everybody uses it for that. Some people just use it to chat with their friends. I mean, it's an online source to, some people aren't an in-person type of person. They like to chat with people online. And I think that's a good thing about it too. But then again, you can also run into spam accounts and people who are inappropriate, and it is really almost as simple as just avoiding it and ignoring it and not engaging with it.
Right.
But for children, they won't take that as, okay, I just have to avoid it, because some kids unintentionally just engage with those things, and then now they've been influenced in a negative way. That's why I don't recommend it for children. I'm pretty sure you have to be 13 or older to use TikTok.
Yes.
If you're a mature 13-year-old, which those are rare, but
very much.
Because
how would you keep someone 13 lies about their age?
That's the unfortunate thing is we have regulations in place and we have that law in place that 13-year-olds aren't, 13 and older are allowed. However, there's no
fact checking.
There's no IDs or
So that is another thing, because there are young, like really, really young children who have outsmarted creating their own accounts where they can put in a date of birth that's not their true date of birth.
Right.
And that's just I think it also boils down to, if a child is mature enough to have a cell phone or a tablet, then that may be acceptable. But at the same time, I just think you need to be mature enough to be on an app like this as well. So I don't know. I don't think it's an app for kids at all. Even though, unfortunately, a lot of children are on the app, and sometimes their parents don't even know. So, you never know what the online world will influence you to do, or how it impacts you. But I wrote this essay because I really wanted to strongly urge the pros of the app and how it has impacted me and the things that I've learned. I mean, just the other night, I wanted to cook something healthy, and nothing on Google looked good. I went to TikTok because they show you what they're doing, and it just, it's inspiring. I don't know. It made me like, oh my gosh, I can go try this new meal that I've never even thought of. Google wouldn't have told me that. Right. So yeah, I use it because it's much more in depth than an AI overview. And that's what Google gives you. Right. So I also enjoy that personal, like, the connection with the creators who are putting good information out there and not trying to, brain rot, you know what I mean? So, yeah. So just basically everything can be used in a negative way, but you're encouraging it to be used in a positive way, which can be beneficial from what I've read. And, what I've known. So. And that's another thing. I have seen a lot of younger people who actually use this app to create small businesses. You can, let's say you have a little bracelet company. You can pursue that by sharing it on TikTok, then sharing it to other platforms and sending it to your friends, and then they push it out onto their TikTok. It's a good way to, if you have a small business or, something of the sorts, you can get more clients or, have people come to you because they're interested in what you have on there. And that's honestly one of the best things I think that I like about TikTok is that people promote their small businesses, because sometimes they're doing it for good reason, for, charities and things like that. And You know, I've seen a lot of things that I've seen on there with small businesses is like they're raising money for something, like I said, charity
Yep.
fundraisers. And if it's going towards something good and you've done your research on it,
hmm
yeah. So I think it can be used in a good way.
Yeah, for sure.
Even though there's 100% a negative side to the app.
Right.
And I think it's all about maturity and, you know, what you allow yourself to watch and engage in, and what you allow to influence you. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So
And awareness, knowing yourself.
exactly.
If seeing a extra pretty model is something that you're going to compare yourself over, maybe that's something you're going to want to avoid.
That is also a negative thing
Mhm.
with, you know, especially with young children who look at those things and they're like, oh my gosh, you know, I wish I could look like that. But that's with anything, you know, you could be walking down the street and see somebody and now you're in your head about yourself. So it's just, social media is just, it's bigger and it's not face to face. So it's easy to cyberbully and it's easy to push things out that you probably wouldn't do in person. You know what I mean?
Right. It is.
So
Lack of empathy on TikTok can be,
Yeah.
but then there's also a side where it's complete opposite.
right.
I've seen both. I'm sure you've seen both.
Right. So that's also why I expressed like using the app appropriately and effectively, you will receive the best version of itself and its content creators.
Right.
That's huge.
Yes, very huge.
So
Well, that is all the questions I had for you today. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I don't believe so.
Does anybody else have any questions they want to add? All right. Thank you guys for listening to Rachel today talk about her essay on influencers' impact on the media. And she will be back with us next Tuesday talking about the effects of social media, resurfacing The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt.
Yes.
So I will see you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in.
What do you think?
Very good.
Okay.